Episode 148 of Australia's #1 marketing show. I've rounded up 7 of the best listener questions of recent times. Plus, I get on my soapbox about a couple of marketing things that are giving me the absolute
Welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Show, where successful small business owners share their secrets to take your marketing to the next level. Now here's your host, Tim Reid.
G'day everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Small Business Big Marketing Show. I am your host, Timbo Reid, but you, so much more importantly, are a motivated small business owner ready to crank out some great marketing and build that business of yours. And that's what we do here. We help you build your business through great marketing. We happen to be brought to you by some folks who are very good at doing that. That is Net Registry, and they help you get your online marketing sorted. netregistry.com.au. More about them shortly. Hey, I'm titling this episode Timbo's Soapbox episode because I am going to get up on my soapbox, and not only am I going to answer some listener questions and give out some tough marketing love, some constructive criticism, some help to help you guys build your businesses, I am also going to have a bit of a rant about some various aspects of marketing. Hey, listen, here's what we're going to cover. How we annoy our clients is something I'm going to touch on. Missed business opportunities. How to build a tribe. We've got a great question, and I'm announcing a meetup. Hey, Melbourne meetup, guys. I know there's listeners from all over the world. In fact, this show got downloaded in 110 countries last month, but I am having a Melbourne meetup. I'm going to announce that. I've got a couple of voicemail messages, and I'm also going to talk about missed opportunities with voicemail. Podcast interview tip, how to manage your SEO, how to create compelling messages, a couple of tips on VA hiring, virtual assistant hiring, and also how to write a ripper tagline. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, have we got some marketing ground to cover. I would have some kind of catching device ready, guys, because there is going to be marketing gold falling out of your headphones and your speakers and everywhere else. So beware, you have been warned. Okay, let's get stuck into it. Okay, the first question comes from Jess Chapman. Hello, Jess. Thanks for listening. She says, "Hi, Timbo. I'm a 22-year-old who owns a small business in Australia." Well done for that, number one, which involves trail riding, horse rides where I take customers around our property, showing them our cattle farm and the Aussie bush. That sounds like fun, Jess. I'd like one of those. You always say every business can benefit from marketing strategies, and I must say you've helped me immensely. Oh, that's good. I like that. I'm here to help. A quick question for you, though. I have thought about handing out presentation folders as a thank you present at the end of each ride, but I'm wondering, what would I put in it? So far I've thought of my business card, a few brochures for them to give friends, a bio on the horse they rode, and perhaps a bit of a story about the history of our farm. Do you think this is a good idea? I've worked out it'll probably cost me a grand total of about $3.20 per customer, plus a few hours of putting them together. Looking forward to your input on the pros, cons, and any other ideas you can think of. P.S. Keep up the good work. You're my favourite podcast by far. Oh, that's so nice. Thanks, Jess. Do I think this brochure idea, this presentation folder idea is a good one, Jess? No. Well, there's a problem. No, I don't, but I've got an idea for you. There's no what's in it for me. That's the problem I have with this idea, Jess. It's like, you're giving me some business cards, you're giving me a brochure on your business, giving me a history of the horse and the farm. I'd kind of want that prior to or on the trip, not after the trip. So I don't think there's much what's in it for me. And remember, as consumers, we're pretty selfish people. We only listen to one radio station. It's called WIIFM. What's in it for me, FM. So, we really got to focus on that when we're creating our messages. So let me give you some ideas. I went on a tour recently in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City. It was a tour. I went on the back of someone's someone's motorbike, and we visited all these really cool places to eat. And they did a couple of great things. Firstly, they upsold me into a video. So they had someone follow me on a motorbike separate to mine and videoed the whole 4-hour tour. And that was amazing. They then cut it together and sent me a 10-minute video about 2 weeks later. So not only did they make an extra $1 from me by doing that, they've left me with a fantastic memory of the tour. And I've shown a lot of people. In fact, I now use that video in one of my keynote presentations. So that is gold, additional revenue and a memory. I think what you've got to think about in terms of what you leave people, Jess, is that you want to leave them with a memory, something that they can look back on, reflect back on to the good time they had with you, and importantly, share with others. Now, another thing these guys did in Vietnam, and by the way, the tour company was called exotours.vn. If you can go and check them out, you'll see exactly what they get up to. They also took some fun photos of us along the trip, along the tour. And they were fun photos. Like, we'd get to this really busy intersection and then they'd ask us to go and like stand, near the corner and do high five jumps and karate jumps and all this kind of wacky stuff. And they'd take photos and they sent us those photos afterwards, right? And asked them to share it, put it on your Facebook, tweet about it and do that type of stuff. And of course you're going to, because they were really cool photos. I'll put an example of one of those photos in the show notes to this episode. So you can check it out at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and go to episode 148. The other thing I do, Jess, so there's a couple of things I do. The other thing I do is follow up everyone who goes on your trail rides with an email and ask them for a review, for a testimonial on TripAdvisor. If you haven't got a TripAdvisor account, get one, populate it, optimize it with all the good information, and ask people to leave reviews, because that'll really help your rankings in Google. So look, sorry to rain on your parade and not saying that the presentation folder is a great idea. Oh, the other thing you say is, I've worked out it'll probably cost me a grand total of $3.20 plus a few hours of putting them together. You've got to put a value on your hours too, yeah? So it's not $3.20, it's probably more than that. Anyway, Jess, thanks so much for being a part of the Small Business Big Marketing tribe and sending in that question. Alrighty, well, speaking of testimonials and asking people for reviews, it's not something I actively do, but I've got to say the amount of listener reviews I'm getting on the Apple iTunes store are actually touching. They're incredibly touching. I've got lots and I appreciate them so much. Apple doesn't allow me to respond to them, but right now I just want to say to anyone who has left me a review on the Apple iTunes store, thank you. I read every single one of them. In fact, I'm going to share some with you right now because A, I think they're helpful, and B, I want to give a little bit back to those who have done it. So I've got one here from Shinoko, and Shinoko says, I recently heard Tim say that a long-time listener had described the podcast as being like a mentor for them. This was the thought I had independently, and am glad that other people have had the same experience. He goes on to say, I started listening around November 2012 and started implementing changes in my business in the new year. We have doubled in revenue every month since January until we imploded and had to rethink about how we were going to cope. Wow, good problems to have, they say. We're now restructuring our business a little now, and all is looking very promising for the future. I recommend the podcast to anyone who has a small business. Thank you so much for that, Shinoko. We've got one from Fiao. Couple of hard names here, but this is a global show. Timbo, I have listened to your podcast for years now. Sorry I haven't reviewed sooner. The information I have learned from your show has helped transform our business over the years. While I can't give you all the credit, for what we have achieved, I'm not sure you understand the impact you have made to the many businesses that escape the grind each week to listen to your marketing gold. Thank you so much, Fiao. Now, what about this one? Here's one from Paul. Paul says, I worked at Coca-Cola for 18 years and left in July 2011 to start up my own business. I know a little about business to consumer marketing and had gaps in knowledge on business to business. This podcast has filled those gaps and taught me practical skills to apply to my own business. I listen every week with Evernote open and implement learnings from Tim and his guests. As an SME owner with tight budgets, I find Tim's show a must-have. That's so kind, Paul. And they just keep going, guys. It feels a little bit kind of selfish to need to read those, but at the same time, maybe it's a reminder that, hey, you are doing the right thing by listening to this show, because those testimonials, those listener reviews that I'm getting on the Apple iTunes store are confirmation that what my editorial mission is around this show is working. This show is all about small business marketing tips and tricks to help grow your business. So, hey, that's what we do around here. That's how we roll. Okay, this question comes from Taylor Krell, and Taylor says, hey, Timbo, our company has been involved in an SEO, SEM marketing campaign for about 4 months now. SEO, guys, is search engine optimization, stuff you do on your site and outside of your site to get organic rankings. Search engine marketing, which is SEM, is Google AdWords, Facebook ads. FYI. None of us, 3 people running the company daily, know much about SEO or SEM. It seems that this can make the company we've hired to manage the campaign able to take our money without delivering on their end. My question is, in terms of handling our SEO and SEM marketing campaign through another company, what should we look for and what should they be doing to determine if we can expect a reasonable ROI? Okay, great question. Thank you, Taylor. So, I've just done recently a project for the City of Melbourne where I got inside 30 small businesses and spent quite a significant amount of time with each one. And I was reminded at just how many phone calls you small business owners are getting almost on a daily basis from SEO companies and SEM companies, often not in Australia or not in your own country, but from in other parts of the world, wanting, promising to get you to the top of Google, increase your Google rankings. Number one is, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That is a really good kind of rule to apply to that. Number two, just be careful what you spend. I met with a small jeweler the other day, and they got lured in, dare I say, sucked in to a $1,650 monthly contract around search engine optimization, which they weren't exactly sure what they were getting for the money. And I think they were just badgered to the point of, okay, we'll sign, and that ain't a good thing. It just creates pain. So, couple of things regarding SEO. Okay, so search engine optimization, for those not in the know, is about things you can do to help you get to the top of Google for keyword searches. When your client or your customer does a search around a particular keyword, you obviously want to rank on page 1 for it. And that's what SEO is good at. Number one is you got to do some keyword research. Now, there's a whole lot of ways, and I'm going to get an SEO expert on in the coming weeks. However, what you want to know is, what are your clients and prospects keying in to the Google search box when they're looking for your products or your services? And, one of the most natural ways of finding it, and I use the word natural purposely because, Google are getting very they want us to represent the customer. That's what they want us to do, not represent the search engine, not try and write for the search engine. So ask your customers, what are they keying into Google when looking for a business like yours? And write it down and start to build a list and start to identify trends in keyword searches. You'll find, it might be identify some of the frequently asked questions that you're getting. These are what people are keying into Google in order to find a business like yours. Now, once you know your keywords, and for, your average small business, let's say there's 5 to 10 keywords that you really should be ranking for and aware of. And when I say keywords, guys, it is not just a word, it's a phrase, what's the best mortgage available in Melbourne? Plumber Melbourne, that type of thing. These are keywords, even though they're more than one word. Number 2, optimize your on-page metadata. Okay, now that's a bit geeky, but basically here's the thing. Google don't see a website, they see lots of pages. And you have the opportunity on every page to tell Google what that page is about. You have the page title, you have the metadata description, you can tell Google what the key word is that you want that page to rank for. And the meta description. You have the opportunity to influence completely what the metadata, what the meta descriptions are for each page. It's a bit like naming your jumper in the playground. If you put your name on your jumper and someone finds it in the playground, they are going to be able to hand it over to you if they know you. If they don't know you, then you named your jumper in detail, like put your name, your hair color, your age, your height, your gender, all that type of stuff. Even someone who doesn't know you is still going to be able to find you and give you back your jumper. Weird analogy, I know, but that's like filling out the metadata on your page. So optimize your on-page metadata. One page, one message with your SEO. So when you are doing it, try and have every single page on your website dedicated to one keyword, built around one key message. And remember, Google does see lots of pages. So, it's great to have lots of pages on your website because it gives you more opportunities to be indexed. Stop chasing backlinks and start creating content. This is a big one. Taylor. If the SEO company that you have employed is being employed to get you backlinks, backlinks are important. They are important. They're less important these days. Relevant backlinks are important. So, if you are if you're a mechanic and you're getting backlinks on, say, car sites, then that's relevance. But if you're getting backlinks on completely unrelated sites, then it's not that relevant and Google won't give it much weighting. So I'm less inclined. If you've got an SEO company that is chasing backlinks, keep it up as long as you're not paying too much for it. But head out and create content. Your SEO company should be advising you to be blogging regularly. Have a podcast, dare I say. Do some videos. Start a forum. Publish ebooks. Lots of good quality content. You've heard me bang on about content a lot in past episodes, but that is the way of the future. Google want you to make your website interesting so that more people come to it and stay longer, so then Google can sell more advertising on the internet. That's how it works. That's the basic equation. So hope that helps. In regards to search engine marketing, Taylor, that's your Google AdWords and your Facebook ads. I am going to bring on a couple of mates, Mike Rhodes and Jennifer Sheehan, at some point in the coming weeks and months. Mike's an AdWords specialist, Jen's a Facebook ad specialist, and we'll have a longer conversation in there. There's also some conversations around this happening in the Small Business Big Marketing Forum, which you can always join at any time. And of course, go to netregistry.com.au. That's their bread and butter. If you want to know that you're getting the proper job done from a search engine optimization point of view, from a search engine marketing point of view, the guys at Net Registry get your online marketing sorted. That's what they do. So I encourage you to head over to netregistry.com.au or click on the Net Registry banner at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com because there are some dedicated packages for listeners. Taylor, thanks a million for your question. Alrighty, we have got a question, a video, I should say, an audio question from Paul, who has been tweeting me a bit lately. So thanks, Paul, for the tweet love and making contact. I do love it when listeners make contact via Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter at Timbo Reid, R-E-I-D, or you can follow the show at The Real SBBM, standing for Small Business Big Marketing. So we have got a voicemail message from Paul, all about how to build a tribe. Let's have a listen.
Hi, Timbo. Video Paul here, and have I got an idea for you? You keep talking about the 1%er. So I've got a 1%er for you. For every new subscriber who tweets you and says, Tim, love your podcast, what you can do is you can then reply to them and give them an old podcast that they can listen to, something inspiring or what is gold, something that is relevant to that individual person. The aim of this is to convert your podcast subscribers to become tribe members. Now, Tim, I've given you something. Can you give me something? I want to learn more about the tribe. What is it? How does it work? How do you create it? How do you drive the people talking with each other? Can you point me to a resource or a podcast that goes into a lot of detail about this? All right, thanks, Tim. Keep up the good work.
All right, thanks, Paul, for your question. And it's a very good one. That whole concept of building a tribe, I think, for us small businesses is so important, because when we do, we start to build that emotional engagement, that emotional attachment between us and our clients, our prospects, our customers. And all of a sudden, it makes the whole marketing process easier, and it particularly makes the sales process easier. You might notice that some of these letters that I'm getting and voicemails that I'm getting, they all start with, "Hey, Timbo." And I know that people feel a sense of, hey, I feel like I know you. You know, I've listened to your show for so long and I've been going to your website and seeing you speak and going to your blog and all that. And there is that element of when you build a tribe, people do feel as though they know you. So great question. How to build a tribe? Paul, here's some tips. Here's some references. Number one, I'm going to refer to my old mate who's not agreed to come on the show just yet, but we'll work on it. Seth Godin. Seth has actually written a book called Tribes. So that would be a good place to start. A very good place to start. Second one is he's got a TED video. He spoke at TED and the video is called The Tribes We Lead. Now I'm going to put links to these both in the show notes. Go to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, find episode 148, and you will be able to access both of these. Seth has also written a book, which I really enjoyed reading, called We Are All Weird, the subtitle being The Myth of Mass and the End of Compliance. Let me read what he says on the back. It says, the one-size-fits-all factory-oriented world is disappearing so fast we can feel it. The rise of addressable tribes, of mini communities, which is effectively what tribes are, and people obsessed with causes, hobbies, and passions is changing politics, economics, marketing, manufacturing, and everything else. You can fight to protect the status quo and lose, or engage in the most important revolution of our time. This manifesto is a call to action for anyone This manifesto is a call to action for anyone who ever cared a lot about something. So here's the thing. A tribe is a community, and it is a community of people who care a lot about something. So the fact that you're listening to this show, the Small Business Big Marketing Show, means you care about the marketing of your small business. Yeah? So you're part of that tribe. So I suggest you get those two books, Tribes and We're All Weird. Here's some tips that I have for creating a tribe as well, Paul. One is identify the pain points of your tribe. What is keeping them up at night? And once you know what they are, then you can put your hand up. Your business, your brand can put your hand up and be the one that says, hey, I understand where you're at, and I'm going to address and fix those pain points. So I'll give you an example. I know the pain points for you, the motivated small business owner, are a lack of time, a lack of money, and a lack of knowledge to create great marketing. Yeah? So I'm addressing those things. I'm giving you knowledge. I'm giving you knowledge in a kind of quick amount of time, although some people say I go on, I bang on too long. And I hope I give you ideas that don't cost a fortune. So I know they're the pain points of my audience, and I address them via a podcast, a forum. I have the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. I'm having a meetup, which I'll talk about in a minute. I build a list. You can go to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com. You can join my list. I give away some marketing gold for free if you join that list, a fast start guide, and then you receive useful information from me going forward. So identify the pain points and then share the solutions via a number of channels, some of which I've just described to you, but there's lots of others as well, like video marketing. You could write a book, all that type of stuff. You could speak from stage, going to networking events, etc. The other way of building a tribe is involving your tribe in asking them for opinions and asking them questions and asking them for ideas and getting them to contribute, because that's what tribes do. They contribute. They help build something bigger than the ordinary. They take something from the ordinary to the extraordinary. So that is another way of doing it. So, tribes are such an important aspect. And as a small business owner, I encourage you all to think, how could I build my tribe, and what would I do with them, and how can I help them, and how can they help me? It's a wonderful concept. Now, speaking of bringing the tribe together, that is exactly what I'm going to do on August the 29th in Melbourne. I've organised a luncheon, 1 o'clock in just at the South Wharf down at Docklands sort of area. No, it's not quite Docklands. It's in South Wharf. Basically, if you go to meetup.com/small business big marketing, you will find all the details. In fact, that's what I'm going to do now instead of blabbering my way through it. So it's on Thursday, August the 29th. It's at the Common Man Bar and Restaurant because I'm a common man and I want to bring the common folk together for a good time. It's at 39 Dukes Walk, South Wharf, Melbourne. It's just near that Small Business Victoria event that's happening same day, which I'm going to be attending and gave away some free tickets to thanks to Net Registry a few episodes ago. So can't wait. I announced it last night. Already got 8 RSVPs. Very excited by that. I know this is a global show. In fact, we got downloaded in Kazakhstan last month. But for anyone in Melbourne or anyone interstate who's going, you know what, wouldn't mind coming together and meeting the rest of the tribe, and that would be a wonderful thing. So feel free to come along. It's just a get together, bit of a chin wag. Buy your lunch, buy yourself a drink, and just have some fun. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's August 29, 2013, and go to meetup.com/small business big marketing to RSVP. Thanks for your question, Paul, about tribes. It was a mighty good one. Okay, we have got a voicemail question coming from Sandy all about taglines. Let's have a listen to what Sandy's got to say.
Oh, hi there, Timbo. It's Sandy Gibbons, and I saw you present at the Maroondah Business Association a while back. I love your stuff, and my marketing question is, what are some tips for coming up with a great tagline for your business? Something really short, punchy, and communicates a benefit to my clients. I've had a lot of red wines and haven't come up with something. So I'd love it if you could help me with that. My email address is sandy@sandygivens.com.au. That's spelled SANDIGIV as in vivacious, ENS.com.au. I'll look forward to hearing from you, and thank you for this neat little app. Love it.
Alrighty doodly. What a very, very good question, Sandy. Thank you for that. The vivacious Sandy, by the way, who couldn't quite crack the tagline conundrum even after a couple of glasses of vino. So coming up with a tagline, well, first of all, you don't have to have a tagline, right? Let's be really clear on that. I mean, there's plenty of businesses around that don't have a tagline. I kind of like them. I think they add something to the logo and to the business name. So certainly think it's a nice idea to explore. Sandy hit on the fact that they need to be sharp, punchy, and benefit-driven is a good thing. You know, you don't want anything long-winded and kind of rational, boring. You know, I think of some of the great taglines like Nike, just do it. That kind of played right into the fact that there's a whole lot of people umming and ahhing about getting fit, and Nike said, you know what, get out there and do it. Other great taglines that come to mind for me, American Express, don't leave home without it. That was kind of almost playing to fear. You're in a better position if you've got your Amex card in your wallet. I loved one of Apple's original lines, which was think different, which was kind of challenging the fact that everyone was going down the PC path and Apple were challenging people to think differently. And, that plays into basic human nature. It identified a key insight, which people do like to be different. Generally we're sheep. Massive generalization, but generally we're sheep, and Apple were challenging us to think different. And remember that wonderful poster with the photo of Einstein? What about KFC? Finger licking good. That is great. That plays right into the emotion, and it gets our head nodding because that's what it is. It is finger licking good. Dare I say, here we go, Yellow Pages. Long-time listeners, you'll know my view on Yellow Pages, but what a great tagline from years gone by. Let your fingers do the walking. Or walking. That was fantastic. That's exactly what Yellow Pages allowed. So here we are treading the footpath, trying to find stuff to buy, and Yellow Pages reminded us that our fingers could do the walking. And Disneyland, you may or may not remember, but in the 60s, Walt Disney's original tagline for Disneyland, the happiest place on earth. Just a confirmation of, what a massive claim, but, a confirmation of exactly what that place was. Now, in terms, Sandy, of getting a tagline, there's some inspiration. Google taglines. Go and seek inspiration from other places. That's a good place to start. Another place to start is ask your tribe. We talked about that in the previous question from Paul, but what about just going out there and asking your tribe on your Facebook, via your email list, on Twitter, just face to face. Ring some people who don't know what you do, right? And tell them and see what response you get from them. That's a good thing as well. So I think I like the idea of asking your tribe, giving them a little bit of input into the building of your business, in this case, your tagline. If your business name, a couple of kind of additional things, and these aren't hard and fast rules, but if your business name is an explanatory business name, then you can probably go ahead and have a little bit of fun with your tagline. You know, when I say explanatory, I mean, does it explain what your business does? If your business has a non-explanatory business name and is more kind of a branded business name, then an explanatory tagline may be the better way of going. So quantifying what it is the business does. And remember, taglines don't often or rarely live in isolation. Okay, so when we see a logo, it's accompanied by a tagline. It appears on a website. So the website's telling us what the business does. It might be appearing on an ad. It might be appearing on a sign. It might be appearing on a uniform, and the person wearing that uniform is inside the business. And you know what? Even if they're not, it does a great tagline, great logo will stimulate conversation. People ask, hey, so what do you guys do? So, Sandy, it's a great question. I hope that helps. But get out there, have some fun with it. I do like the idea out of all that of crowdsourcing and going out to your tribe and crowdsourcing some names, because you can't do it all yourself. Us small business owners, we've got to lean on others. And secondly, Google it. Go and see some taglines from around the world. Great taglines. Just Google that and you'll come up with plenty. Hey, Sandy, thanks for listening to the show and for being so vivacious. And have another glass of wine and just sit back and it'll come. I promise. It'll just come to you in a flash of lightning. Good on you. Alrighty doodly. Now, this is not so much a listener question, but this is me getting up on my soapbox. I'm getting more and more email requests from people wanting to be interviewed on my show, which is really, really flattering. And if you go to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, go to the contact button on that site, you will find that there is a drop-down menu, one of which allows you to request an interview on my show. And that's what people are doing. However, I'm getting a lot of requests that don't motivate me to want to interview these people. Let me give you a couple of examples of what I would call interview request fails. Now, I'll take out any names here, so we're not pointing the finger, but just general tips. Because, hey, here's the thing. Getting an interview on a podcast is a good marketing strategy for a small business, because I think they're generally going to be easier to get than, say, getting an interview on a commercial radio station, in a newspaper, on a TV program, etc. You know, there are lots more podcasts these days, and there are lots of podcasts in particular niches, and you will find a podcast somewhere in the world that shares the attention and the ears of prospects that you would like to get in front of. So, and you know what, even if they're not specifically in your geographic area in which you sell, getting interviewed is just a really good discipline to get your message right, to help you articulate your message and your key messages. So, bit of a diversion there, bit of a rant, but this is a rant. So listen, here's some interview request fails, and then I'll share with you one that got close. So this one says, hey there. My name's not there. It is Tim, and you can call me Timbo. It's nice to finally say hello and introduce myself. I've listened to your podcast on and off for a while now. I don't think so. You would have said, I've listened to Small Business Big Marketing on and off for a while now. Kind of full circle. Ha, ha, ha. That's just not funny. You know, I know some of my gags aren't funny, but that one isn't funny. Right now, I'm reaching out to see if I can do an interview for your podcast. Here are a couple of links to other interviews I've had. And it goes on and with a few links. Recently, I've been working on a 4-book series based on my own experiences, doubling the size of my business, as well as work I've done with coaching clients. About a month ago, I put 3 of them up on Amazon Kindle. Then, the first Wednesday, I did a 24-hour free promotion for my new book to see what people thought. It shot up to number 1. And then it just goes on and on and on. there's no personalisation there. I don't see what's in it for us, for you and me to help build our business. So that one ain't going to get a follow-up. Here's another one. Hi, Timbo. That's a good start. Hey, they've kind of, they must know that people refer to me as Timbo. May have listened to my show. Don't know. It goes on. I'm working with insert name from insert website, and I think he'd be a great fit for your podcast. Let me know if you'd be interested and I can book him. Cheers, insert name. I like the fact that they've used my name. My nickname, so they kind of might have listened to my show, but they're requiring me to head over to the website and to have a look and to figure it all out. So didn't quite get there. Nice and short. I like short, but didn't quite get there. So move on. Here's one that I quite liked. It says, "Hi Timbo, my name is, and I am founder of." In fact, I can use the names here because I want to give them a bit of a plug for going to the extra effort. Hi, my name is Alex and I am founder of Problemio.com, which creates some of the top mobile apps for planning and starting a business on iOS, Android and the Kindle. Cool. That's cool. Our apps recently reached 150,000 downloads, and I would love to come on the show and discuss the common experiences of entrepreneurs and also how aspiring entrepreneurs can create a mobile business. Would you be interested? Would that be an interesting topic for the show? Sincerely, Alex. That's pretty good. I would have liked him to refer to the name of my show because I'm kind of feeling like it's a bit of a cut and paste, but there is interest there, and I may well follow Alex up. One of the reasons I might not follow Alex up is because right now I am interested in interviewing small business owners who are cranking out great marketing, as opposed to necessarily interviewing small business owners who are providing services to other small business owners, if that makes sense. But I do break that rule occasionally, and in fact, coming up, I do have some interviews with service providers to small businesses. But right now, that's kind of where I'm at. So here's the thing. Here is what I would do if I was looking to get interviewed on a podcast. First of all, step one, prove you've listened to at least one whole episode of the show. Yeah, refer to a particular interview I did, refer to the show by its name, and show that you've actually gone to that trouble. Number two, prove that you understand who my audience is. And I'm talking about this for my show, but this goes for applying to any podcaster. Prove that you understand who my audience is. So, I say it at the start of every show, as I say, but you, much more importantly, are a motivated small business owner ready to crank out some great marketing to build your business. Repeat my words, repeat my words in your application to appear on the show. Number three, point three, tell me how they'd benefit from having you on the show. So tell me how my audience would benefit from coming on the show. Yeah, what have you got to share? What's in it for me? What's in it for my audience? Because we live in the what's in it for me world. Remember that. Number four, keep it short. I get a lot of long emails and I have a very short attention span if you haven't picked that up by now. And you really do need to keep it short. I just think all communication should be short. It's amazing the amount of blog posts I'm reading from big and small businesses. They're all short, so just how our attention spans are decreasing as our need or wish to multitask is increasing. So there you go. I'll now get off the soapbox and I'll go back to a listener question. Okay, this question comes from Denise Fennick. And Denise says, "Hi Timbo, greetings from an Aussie in Japan. Love your show. Lots of interesting ideas, which I'm incorporating into my business slowly, baby step by baby step." Great work. That is the way to do it, Denise. I wouldn't be doing it any other way. As you listen to the show, I often say to people, keep a pen and a pad alongside you or open up Evernote and just capture the ideas as they come. And it's something that you can refer to on an ongoing basis when you're feeling a bit frisky and you think, you know what, I want to refer back to my ideas section from Small Business Big Marketing and implement something. So baby step by baby step is a good thing. I think you talked about virtual assistants a while back, but I'm darned if I can find which show number that was. Well, I kind of touch on virtual assistants or VAs every now and then, so it could have been one of many. I've never done an entire show on it, but there is a bit of discussion in the Small Business Big Marketing forum about it too. So anyway, she says, can you help me out? I've never used an assistant before, and I need to be pointed in the right direction. I have a few small graphic design jobs that would take me forever to do, but I'm sure a pro could punch out in a couple of hours. Any guidance would be greatly appreciated. Okay, so a couple of things there. Semantic, a bit of a language thing. When we mention talk about a virtual assistant, a VA, I kind of head down. My mind goes to, administrative, secretarial, personal assistant type things. I mean, the whole VA thing, virtual assistant, came from the saying personal assistant. The virtual assistant thing, they just happen to be somewhere, generally somewhere else in the world besides in the same city or state that you're in. So that's a virtual assistant, but by the end of your note, Denise, you're talking about graphic design help. So I'll address the two aspects. One, virtual assistant. If you need help with the day-to-day running of your business, first of all, you go to somewhere like Elance. That's a good place to find them. There are many, many others, and in fact, I'm going to point you to some training at the end of the answering of this question, where that'll point you to a whole lot of different resources to find virtual assistants. When you do have one, what you need to give them is the repetitive tasks that you do day in, day out, and that just take time. They're the time-sucking tasks, and they're tasks that don't necessarily require too much thought or too much strategy. They're just the repetitive things. Admin, diary management, could be even social media management, although I do like the idea of keeping social management, media management personal. Number two, you also give them tasks you don't like. So again, they could be repetitive tasks. They could also be tasks that just are a pain in the butt. So identify them. And when you do employ a virtual assistant, before you do it, I think it's really important to create a long list of tasks to ensure that you are going to keep them busy. I've previously had experience where I've employed a virtual assistant because I had a need to get a few things done. And then you get to a point where you go, now what do I got to give them? So maybe just get really clear on what tasks you can give them. If you can get a list of 10, 20 tasks together and put some hours alongside it, then you can set the expectation with whoever it is you employ. Importantly, once you do have those tasks written down and you're starting to work with a virtual assistant, get crystal clear on how you brief them and exactly the way you go about briefing them. Is it verbal briefings, email briefings? Do you use something like a Jing or ScreenFlow to do video briefings? Whatever it is, but you can't give too much information away, particularly in the early stages. I think it's really important to share as much as you can so that they get a sense of you, your business, and how you like to work. Once you do find, when you are looking for a virtual assistant, Denise, don't go for the cheapest. I think there's a real kind of overarching concept here in this virtual outsourcing world that, I'm going to get someone for $2 or $3 or $5 an hour. It's not about that. It's about finding A players somewhere in the world who happen to be reasonably priced, right? I think Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Work Week, all those years ago, kind of implanted the seed that it was about finding $2 people out of India, and it's just not about that. A players somewhere in the world who are reasonably priced. So that's kind of virtual assistant land, Denise. From a graphic design point of view, that's still about outsourcing. You probably hear me talk about the whole concept of building a virtual marketing team. And as small business owners these days, we can do that. We can surround ourselves with A players in all sorts of different industries and categories. So we can have a virtual assistant, we can have a graphic designer, a web developer, a copywriter, a Facebook ads person. We can surround ourselves with that virtual marketing team without the need to put these people on our payroll, but we pay for them by project. So I really like that. So in terms of design, I do suggest going again to somewhere like Elance or 99 Designs. And once again, being crystal clear on your brief and don't shortchanging. Don't try and pay of course, try and pay the least that you can, but also put a budget forward that is you get what you pay for. That's the summary. You get what you pay for. Interestingly enough, I got another listener email just this week from someone saying, it was another graphic designer saying, Timbo, stop telling people to go to 99 Designs. But you know what? I've shared my views about that before, and in fact, I've started a discussion in the Small Business Big Marketing Forum to see what other people's views are on that. But again, I'm all about finding the best person for the job somewhere in the world who is reasonably priced. That's what it's all about. Okay, so Denise, great question. In terms, I'm going to put a link in the show notes to episode 148. Go to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, find episode 148. My two mates, Dave Jennings and Pete Williams, have put together a wonderful, I reckon it's right up there, one of the best training products around for helping you develop an outsourcing strategy within your small business. And I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes. You will love it. It's just very, very good training. Hey, Denise, thank you so much for your question. Righto, the next question is from Sanjay Prag, and Sanjay says, "Hey Timbo, as a first-time small business owner, I'm having to learn quickly and on my feet." Oh yeah, ain't that the case? That's pretty much small business for you. I have no doubt, he didn't say that, I did. I have no doubt that my weakest point is my marketing skills. Not so much knowing what to do, but more so being able to convert what I know into what I want to say. What I mean is this. There was a time when I didn't have a clue about marketing, pitches, spiels and strategies, but with limited resources, money and all, I have had to do some serious self-study. Well, first of all, Sanjay, well done, because serious self-study is something that we should all do and we should never stop learning. I was hosting an event only yesterday full of small business owners from one particular company, kind of franchisees, licensees, and I was saying to them, never stop learning. Just because you might have been in the business for 15, 20 years even, it doesn't mean that you know everything. And I think the minute we rest on our laurels, the minute we become complacent, the minute the business gets affected. So well done for that serious self-study. Sanjay goes on to say, having got better at defining my unique selling proposition / message, my target market and the brand I wanted to create, well, that's well done. I mean, you are a marketer, Sanjay. Don't worry about that. I have not gotten any better at converting it into my text that my audience will buy into. That is to say, I still cannot convert my rational messages into emotive ones. Well, first of all, well done for recognizing that you should, Sanjay. That's brilliant, because so many business owners out there are still going out with rational messages. And, we are emotional creatures. That's what us humans are. Sanjay goes on to say, surely this is a skill that is best left to creative people who have the gift of the gab, ? Or is it that some words just sound better when it comes from someone else? Perhaps I'm still missing the point. It would be great to hear your thoughts. Sanjay, you raise some really interesting points and you demonstrate the fact that you're ahead of the game. You're recognizing that, well, from a message point of view, emotion works better than rational. What you're trying to do is build a brand. And as I have rattled on before, brands are simply an emotional attachment. So keep doing that. My tip for turning the rational into emotional is quite simple. What you need to do is, and that's like turning features into a benefit, there are two words that you need to put in the middle of your sentence. And that is, the two words are, which means. They're the two words, which means. Let me give you an example. We have the biggest range, which means you save time by getting all your products in one place, right? So biggest range is the feature, the rational feature, which means turn that into a benefit, means you can get all your products in one place and save time. So that's an example. Another one, all our staff have been on the tools for at least 5 years, which means they know exactly what you're going through. Okay, so those two words, which means, allows you to turn a feature into a benefit. Very, very simple skill. Now, you talk about leaving it to creative people, Sanjay. Look, you know what? And we're talking verbal and written message creation here. I am a big one for having a copywriter on your virtual marketing team. I spoke earlier about the virtual marketing team. I think one of the first people or skill sets that you put on that virtual team is a copywriter. Unless you are willing to really, really study great copy, and unless you are really, really willing to spend the time writing great copy and crafting it, then I suggest put a copywriter on your virtual marketing team. I often do this in a keynote talk to small business owners where I'll say, hey guys, put your hand up if you can get if you could pick the phone up right now and get a brochure designed, and most of the hands in the room go up, yeah, I can call my graphic designer, no worries. Then I say, okay, keep your hand up if you could ring a copywriter and have the copy for that brochure written, and most of the hands go down, right? And I say, so what do you do? And they say, we write it ourselves. It takes forever. Or we find who's least busy in the business and get them to write the copy. I think that's dangerous. Great copy leads people on a journey from inquiry, research, right through to through to purchase. So I think it's worth spending the time and actually employing a copywriter. That's what I do, Sanjay. But there's a couple of little tips that work. The other thing too, I love mucking around with headlines. I mean, there's so many different aspects of copy, but just in terms of headlines, another little tip I suggest is go to the newsagent, stand in front of the magazine stand and have a look at some of the big magazines. I'm looking at my newsstand on my iPad right now, and I've got the Men's Health magazine open, and these guys are masters of the headline and the emotional words. And Sanjay talked about, asked whether some words are better than others. Yeah, they are, and some headlines are better than others. Go through your email and look at all the subject lines and see which ones grab your attention, number one. But let me just flick through Men's Health front covers. Hard muscles fast. Your best body ever. Fight fat and win. Build arms like this. Fast track six-pack. Let me scroll down. Get a beach body. Big arms made easy. Couple of things there. They're short, they're emotional, they address problems that they know their readers have got, and they're not scared to repeat month in, month out. They're not always recreating the wheel. So a couple of tips there about writing engaging copy. We've got some discussion in the forum. In fact, there's some training in the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. I have posted a masterclass that I ran a couple of years ago and had a great discussion. There's about a 45-minute discussion with a copywriter of note who we go through what makes great and engaging copy. So this conversation I'm having now goes into even greater depth in the forum. And the Small Business Big Marketing Forum, guys, if you didn't know, was where I go in every day. I answer your marketing questions. There are other motivated business owners in there answering your marketing questions and posting their own questions. But I also put any training that I create in that forum, so you have complete access to it. $49 a month, and all you need to go is to go to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com and click on the forum button or the products button, and you can be in there before you can say, gee, what a great business this is. What a great forum this is for small business owners. Thanks for your question, Sanjay. Alrighty, I'm going to finish this episode with a couple of rants. That's it for the listener questions for the time being, but a couple of rants. Number one, how are you annoying your customers? Interesting question. I'm just reminded of it every time I go and pay for something using a credit card. And this is a little thing. It's a bit of a first world problem, actually, but I find it really weird that the merchant copy prints first. You know what I mean? It's like, can't you just print the customer copy, give it to me so I can get on my way, as opposed to the merchant copy printing first and they have to put it into the register or put it wherever they put it, and then printing the customer copy. I don't know, just a little thing. Another one is loud music in cafes. I've ranted about this a couple of times in previous episodes, but again, I was in a cafe last week and a client wanted to meet there, and it was like, oh my God, how loud is this music? Does it need to be that loud? It was there for the benefit of the staff more than it was for the clientele, and I just don't think cafes are getting it. So I guess it raises the question, are there touch points in your business where you're not putting the customer first? And I think we can all look at our businesses and the cold, hard light of day and improve from that perspective. Another little rant. I called a fellow the other day. I called a mulching guy. And he hasn't returned my call. Now, when I called him, I left a voicemail message and said, hey, it's me, and I've got this job where I've just got a few branches out on my nature strip that need mulching. Just a trailer load, not many, but I thought, you could come around and mulch them, and that would save me having to go to the tip and do all that type of stuff. Now, he hasn't returned my call, and I am guessing it's because it's such a small job. But guess what? He has missed out on a whole lot of business because I will have the need for a lot of mulching to be done. He's also a tree lopper, an arborist. I have a need for one of them in the coming months, and they will be significant jobs. And I thought I'll just test the water with this fellow first. Hasn't returned my call. What's that about? So it raises the question. Now, he might be on holidays or whatever, but his voicemail didn't say that. What business are you missing out on by knocking back the little stuff? Now, that's a tough one because sometimes the little stuff can be painful. And if you know that there's not bigger work at the other end, then it is easier to say no. But how often do we know? We don't know that what's at the other end. So, interesting question, and another thing to look at in the cold, hard light of day and just think maybe there is business you're missing out on by knocking back the smaller stuff. All right. I'm actually giggling because I went to hit record and I started recording and I was tripping over my tongue and just couldn't get my words out. So, and I just deleted that file and I thought maybe I should do a bloopers show because you got to hear some of the stuff where I trip over. It's the beauty of recording and not having to do a live show, I suppose. But yes, quite funny. I drop the odd expletive as well at the end, so maybe I shouldn't do that because I'll get a one of those naughty ratings on iTunes. I hope you enjoyed this listener episode show and a bit of a rant, a bit of a soapbox episode. I've enjoyed putting it together. It's one of those ones where they actually require a fair bit more work than doing just expressing a bit of an opinion up front and then doing an interview with a successful small business owner. But that's okay because it's lovely to see what questions are being asked by other small business owners because it certainly gives me great insight, and hopefully for you it gives you a sense that, hey, you're not alone. Oh, you could be thinking maybe throughout this episode you've been thinking, oh, that's a question I've been asking, or, and maybe you don't feel so stupid having listened to this episode because sometimes we can think, oh, geez, am I the only one who doesn't know that? No, you're not. I can tell you what, there are so many marketing questions that small business owners have, and there are so many marketing questions that they don't know they have. We don't know what we don't know. So keep those questions coming, guys. Go to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, hit the contact page. You can send me a question there, but also on the home page, I have a little button that allows you to send me a voicemail. And I love getting those voicemails. So you can do that. They get emailed directly to me as soon as you hit stop. You can do that, or you can email me a question. Don't forget to join the Small Business Big Marketing Forum because this kind of discussion happens every day. And I just don't think, as I said earlier, you can never stop learning. So get in there. There are other motivated small business owners who are there to grow their business through great marketing. I'm in there every day. I post training, I answer questions, and there's just good marketing banter. There is marketing gold dripping from the Small Business Big Marketing Forum. So get in there, head to smallbusinessbigmarketing.com, click on the forum button. Happy days. Remember, speaking of the tribe, speaking of good marketing discussion, we are having a meetup in Melbourne on August the 29th, and it is 2013 right now. In case you're listening to this episode in 2017, that's cool. Hello to 2017. That's a Melbourne meetup. Already got lots of people responding. I'm excited. I am excited to meet the listeners and to have a bit of a feed, bit of a drink, and that's on August 29. You can go to meetup.com/small business big marketing. Register anyway, even if you're not in Melbourne, because when I do one in another state or another country, you'll be the first to know. And guys, remember, Net Registry are there to get your marketing sorted, your online marketing sorted. So go and register a domain name, get some website hosting, design, development, search engine optimization, Facebook ads, Google AdWords, you name it. netregistry.com.au are there to help, and they make this show possible. So your support is appreciated. Tell them Timbo sent you. Righto, that's enough. I am now going to get down off of my soapbox and go and do some work. So until next time, may your marketing be the best marketing. See ya.
You've been listening to the Small Business Big Marketing Show with Tim Reid. Want more marketing goodness? Then visit smallbusinessbigmarketing.com.